Okay, first of all, I want to thank you for joining with the session. We are very sorry to start a little late. I'm very sorry. But the objective of the session today is to give you an introduction to MCS exams that are going to happen in May. MCS exams that are going to happen in May, right? So basically, as you all are aware, I will give the very basic details that are kind of common for MCS SCS that you might be aware, but just to give a refresher about it. Uh, so so it's a 3 hour case study paper, MCS May exams. You have the pre-scene now, right? On the exam day, questions will be around that organization. Most of the questions will be very, very practical ones. Most of the questions will be very, very practical ones. Even though there are 3 theory subjects that are based, which is the E2, P2, F2, we will, in this course, we will do a full refresher on E2, P2, F2. So you don't need to go and study E2, P2, F2 separately. You don't need to go and study E2, P2, F2 separately because we will, within the course, will do a full revision required. Right? So don't try to start studying about that now. Just concentrate on what to do. That will be good enough. Right? So SEMA is trying to make the exam like your day-to-day work, day-to-day office work. Therefore, it will not look like a traditional exam paper. Uh, when you start the exam, there'll be an email from your boss. You need to respond to that email. When you start the exam, there'll be an email from your boss. You need to respond to the email. In the email from the boss, there'll be questions that is asked. There'll be attachment to the email, like in your office work. You need to read the email from your boss, read the attachment, give the response. Your response will be treated as the exam paper answer. So SEMA is trying to make it very, very practical day-to-day situations at office rather than a typical exam. Rather than a typical exam. Right? So how do we work with you? You and me, what are we going to do in the next 6 to 7 weeks? You and me, what are we going to do in the next 6 and 7 weeks? Both of us, you and me, will start with two very interesting sections called KYP and KYI. KYP and KYI. That's the initial stage of the work that we will do. That's very much the initial stage of work that we will be doing. So, what is KYP? KYP is know your precinct. KYP is know your precinct. So, there is a precinct document given by SEMA, good enough. However, we'll give you a different document called KYP. KYP is know your precinct, which will give you a nicer, better, easier view about the precinct. It'll be easy for you to go through the KYP and understand the precinct. And we are trying to start the session with the KYP. We'll be starting the session with KYP. We'll be starting the session with the KYP, right? KYI is the second stage. KYI is the second stage. KYI means know your industry, and that is where we will educate you. We will educate you about the industry. That's where we will educate you about the industry. I mean, for you to understand the pre-scene very well, you need to understand the industry very well. That is exactly why we will allocate a lot of time. We will allocate a lot of time on the industry as well. We'll allocate a lot of time on the industry as well, right? So these are the first two steps that we do. These are the first two steps that we do, KYP and KYI. So what kind of pre-scene that we have to study for this time? What kind of pre-scene that we have to study for this time? It's a very interesting case study available. It's a very, it's a very, it's a very interesting case study available. We are a company who will provide accommodation facilities for the university students. So we are a large organization who is doing that. We are not a very small organization. We are a fairly large organization who is providing educational services, right? Who is providing the accommodation services for the students. That is our main job. We are a large organization. We are a public listed company. We provide accommodation services for the students. So this is our main role that we play. We are a public listed company. We are a public listed company. So you being a public listed company, there will be a lot of things that you need to be careful. You being a public listed company, there will be a lot of things that you need to be careful, right? So we will talk about the things that we needed to be careful as well. Because when you run a public listed company, it is not only profit that you need to consider. When you are a public listed company, you need to be aware of the share price, because even if you have lower profits, you will be okay. Even if you have lower profits, you will be okay. But if you have a reducing share price, it might have a bigger impact than what you think it should be. The entire organization might cease to exist in the present form. Someone else can come and take you over. So whenever we say we are a public listed company, you got to be aware there are a lot of additional risks that you face. There are a lot of additional risks that you face. So what we're trying to do is we are trying to look at what those risks could be. So I work as an executive director for a public listed company. I will share with you what are those additional risks or additional factors that you need to consider. So we are going to start with the KYP and the KYI, right? So it's an interesting pre-scene because we are talking about the accommodation services for the university students. It will be very different to giving the accommodation for anyone else, because the university students will have their own specific requirements. University students will have their own specific requirements. So we need to kind of figure out how we need to treat for that specific market, because the market requirements will be very, very different. Market requirements will be very, very different. So this is what the pre-scene looks like. This is what the pre-scene looks like. As you see, it's a 27-page loan document. Don't worry. You don't need to go through the pre-scene per se. You can look at the KYP. But just to give an idea about it, name of our company is Flat Hole. Name of our company is Flat Hole. So that's the company that you and me are trying to work with. Name of our company is Flat Hole. We are a public listed company, so it will be interesting. There will be a lot of things that are applicable for a public listed company that we need to be kind of aware of. So we are a quoted company, that means a public listed company. But then what you need to figure out is a lot of public listed companies are running like private companies. A lot of public listed companies are running like private companies. Simply because even though you are public listed, the public float is very limited. What is public float? Yes, you say you are a public listed company, but the public float is very limited. That means what is the percentage of the shares that are in the share market? What's the percentage of the shares that are in the share market? Some countries there is a minimum. Some countries minimum is 10% or 15%. So that means if the 15% of your shares, if the 15% of your shares are listed and are in the share market, then you call yourself a public listed company. But even though you are a public listed company, just because only 15% of the shares are in the public listed arena, I mean, public can buy or sell only 15% of your shares. 85% maybe with three people. So you are technically known as a public listed company, but most of the decisions are very much private. because the 85% of shares are privately held. Having only 15% in the share market, you can call yourself a public listed company, right? I hope you are clear on that, right? Just say yes if you are clear. I hope you are clear on that. You can be called a public listed company with 15% public holding. So decisions are very, very private. I hope you are clear, right? So we are a public listed company. So we got to figure out when you say we are a public listed company, what is the percentage holding that is available for the public? We are a public listed company. Uh, we own and operate. What is own and operate? Own and operate is, these are not lease property. These are our own properties, right? Own and operate. That means these are our own properties. We own and operate 174 residential buildings. My gosh. So we are not a small 174 residential buildings. 174 residential buildings that are located in towns and cities in the home country of Tolan. Tolan. Tolan is my country. So, I mean, what do we do? What do we do? Flat Hole is a quoted company that owns and operates 174 residential buildings that are located in towns and cities in the home country of Tolan. So our business is entirely in Tolan. We are not expanded to overseas. We are only in Tolan. We have 174 residential buildings in the different cities of Tolan. These buildings are subdivided into flats that are rented to full-time students in nearby colleges and universities. Oh my gosh. We don't rent them to anyone. We are renting them to full-time students. This is what we do. Flats that are rented to full-time students. So we rent our buildings to full-time students. And how many buildings we have? 174 buildings. Is it in one city? No. Is it in many different cities in Tolan? But we only have buildings in our country, which is Tolan, in many different cities, 174 residential buildings. 174 is a very high number, right? 174 residential buildings we have, but we are renting them to the full-time students. We are renting them to the full-time students. So this is what we do. This is what we do. This is what we do. So I think we need to realize that we are a very different organization. Yes, we are very large, that I agree. We are very, very large. That I think all of us agree. Right? We are very, very large. That all of us should agree. But more than being very, very large, we are very different because we are renting this only for the full-time university students. We are renting them only for full-time university students, right? So it will be very interesting, right? It will be very interesting because it will be very interesting because if you can learn about it will be very interesting if you can learn about how this industry will work. Okay. I mean, how will be different? How will be different? If you have 174 buildings, if you have 174 buildings that you are renting for various different people, it will be very different to our organization because we are renting them to the university students, right? We are renting them to university students. I'll tell you later in the pre-scene. They tell me our capacity is 78,000 students. Our capacity is 78,000 students, right? So 174 buildings which has the capacity to accommodate 78,000 students. So you can work out how many students can be accommodated for one building. Because there are 78,000 students capacity available for 174 buildings, right? So then you need to figure out, okay, how our business will be very different to someone who is renting out houses, right? I want you to take 1 minute. I want you to take 1 minute. can you imagine and feel how our business will be different, because we are renting out apartment for the full-time students of the university compared to someone who is renting out it for families, businessmen, compared to someone who is renting out houses to anyone, how our business can be different. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to think. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to think. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to think about the difference. Okay. Are you clear about the question? First of all, you should be clear about the question. So, first of all, is the question clear? You should be clear about the question. Question is, we have 174 buildings. We are renting our buildings only for the full-time students. But how our business will be different to anyone else who has a lot of buildings that are renting out to anyone else? The other company, they will rent out to anyone. How our difference will be different, our business will be different to a company who is renting out to anyone. Okay. Is the question clear? Is the question clear? Everyone, can you please say yes if the question is clear? Some people are not responding. Please say yes if the question is clear. Okay. Take 2 minutes now. Take 2 minutes now. Take 2 minutes now. Okay. So now whatever the answers that you got, we can argue about them later. Whatever the answers that you got, we can argue about them later. Whatever the answers you got, we can argue about them later. What I am interested in is how did you try to get the answer points? What I am interested in is how did you try to get the answer points? Whatever the answer points that you got, we can discuss later, don't worry. What I am more interested in is what was your approach? How did you try to get the answer points? Best way to get the answer points is imagine, close your eyes, imagine a university, and close to the university there's a large building which is giving the accommodation for the students. And you try to imagine and go there and see how it will be running compared to imagine someone else who has done a nice flat in the city who is renting out for the families. So if you try to close your eyes and imagine the university, close to university, there's a flat where the flat is renting out for the only for the students. Imagine that situation and compare with another flat available in the main city, which is renting out space, apartment for the anyone, families, people who are working in the companies, anyone. Even there might be some students there, but how it will be different. So if you do that, I feel you will be able to get better answer point. So my question is, can you get better answer points from imagination? Whenever you try to imagination, can we get better answer point? This is something that we will try to this is something that we'll try to work more with you as we go on. The starting point. Okay. Can you do it now for a 1 more minute? Close your eyes and imagine you're going into a flat where the space is rented for the university students only, and imagine a place in the main city. Do that for 1 minute, just for 1 minute, right? Just for 1 minute, do that. 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 Okay, take 1 minute. Sorry. Okay, so if I try to imagine, if I am trying to go into, you need more time? Do you need more time or can I start? Do you need more time or can I start? Please respond. Always in online education, respond. Always in online education, respond. If you need more time, let me know. You need more time? Okay, take 1 more minute. Those who have finished, do it again. You will see the beauty. Let me try to do that as a. Can you imagine a person? Can you imagine a full-time student behavior? And can you imagine a behavior of a family in the apartment? How a full-time student will behave in the apartment? Close your eyes, how a full-time students will behave in the apartment, how the full-time students will behave in the apartment, compared to how a family will behave in the apartment, right? Then you will get a lot of answer points, I am sure. Okay, done. Okay. Can I first of all ask you one question? Did you feel that you can get more answer points by doing the imagination? Tell me yes or no. Did you feel that you can get more answer points when you try to do the imagination after my guidelines? When I try to ask you to do the imagination, did you feel that you can get more answer points? So this is one of the techniques we'll be using during our course. This is one of the techniques we'll be using within our course. The one of the techniques we'll be using within our course. So if I try to imagine, if I try to imagine, if I try to imagine, this is what I think it will be different. Full-time students, okay, I think location will have to be different, obviously, right? I think location will have to be different. Location will have to be very close to a university. And the facilities, facilities will be minimum. I mean, you need small apartments. If the university students are there, they can't pay that much. They can't pay that much. They can't pay that much. Small apartments is good. Lower facilities is good. You don't need a very nice swimming pool uh, in the when you try to rent out for the students, right? You don't need a huge luxury shopping. You just need a very basic few shops for the people to buy. I mean, areas like cooking and laundry can be very different. Areas like cooking and laundry can be very different. In a in the apartment that are renting for the students, in the apartment that are renting for the students, in the apartment that we are renting for the students, uh, it can be common laundry areas available. It can be common laundry areas available. Common laundry areas available. Uh, a cooking, you don't need a major kitchen. You might need a very small kitchen. You might need a very small kitchen for you to kind of uh, maybe for you to just do a very basic food, right? But these are young people. These are very young people. So apartment will be very busy. In the morning, all of them will be going for universities. In the evening, all of them will be coming back. In one room, there'll be many people when we rent out to the university students. Maybe you need large rooms where you can put 6 kids into one room. Unlike in an apartment in the city. Unlike in an apartment in the city, right? And during the time when the university is closed, they will be empty. That's the one big risk available in your business model, because you are renting only for the university students. One big risk that is available is when uni is closed, which is every year there will be holidays available. When the university is closed every year, when the university is closed every year, it'll be a problem. When the university is closed every year, you might not get a rent. But if you have an apartment in the city, 12 months a year, they'll be living there. 12 months a year, they'll be living there, right? But when you try to rent for the university students, when the university is closed, it will be the price will be much cheaper. Whenever you try to give for the university students, it will be cheaper. And these university students will need things like high speed internet. I mean, obviously, they will be doing a lot of searches, high speed internet. Maybe a study hall, are critical. Study hall is, you don't need to have a library, right? Library is available in the university, but you need to have a study hall. So therefore, our our business will be very very different. And collecting money, money collection, is also a little risky. Why? I mean, you have so many innocent students, some people decide not to pay. Money collection also will be a challenge. So these are the bigger differences available in our business and any other business. Which means what? Which means, my dear friends, you shall know about our business model very well. If you have your business model in your mind very well, you find it very, very easy to answer questions. You find it very, very easy to answer questions. All right. Let's go back to the KYP. In the KYP, you will get a nice summary of what our business is all about. This is, here we are with the KYP. Name of our company is Flat Hole. Name of our company is Flat Hole. We are a public listed company. We don't know what the public floating is. We are in a country called Tolan. Tolan is the country. We have our operations only in Tolan. We have our operations only in Tolan. We have our operations only in Thola. 174 residential buildings, right? This is fairly a large assets that we have. 174 residential buildings, which are divided into apartment related full rented to full-time students attending nearby colleges and universities. We can accommodate 78,000 students. We can accommodate 78,000 students, right? So it's big. Flatfall uh, Flatfall competes against other providers of purpose-built student accommodation. So these are industry that we are in. Purpose-built student accommodation. PBSA. Purpose-built student accommodation. These are the industry that we call ourselves. Purpose-built student accommodation. Our country is stolen and our currency is stolen dollars. We established ourselves in 1994. So we are not a very old company, fairly. Pioneered Tolan first purpose-built accommodation. Oh my gosh, we are the pioneers in the industry, right? Duet is our main competitor. So we have a main competitor called Duet. This is the main competitor of ours. So this is a fair understanding of what the business is. And these are the financial status of the company. Net profit margin of 40%, which means a very high net profit margin. Very high net profit margin. So these are very, very high net profit margin. These are very, very high net profit margin. Right? These are very, very high net profit margin. Okay. I want you to think about this net profit margin. 40%. Very, very high net profit margin. I even don't know whether it's true. I mean, if you have a 40% net profit margin, it's a very interesting business that you are in. It's a very interesting business that you are in. So it'll be nice to go and see the financials. So in the KYP, there is a section called financial ratios. If I go into that, you will be able to see this is our company, Flat Toll. We have a revenue of 735 million. We have a profit before tax of 336 million. We have profit before tax of 336 million. 336 million, right? Profit after tax of 296 million. So can you calculate the ratio? Can you calculate the ratio? Profit after tax of 296, profit after tax of 296 divided by the revenue on, divide by the revenue, divide by the revenue, divide by the revenue. What is the percentage do you get? Please calculate the percentage. Everyone, online education, get involved, calculate. Don't just relax for others to calculate. Right or wrong, who cares? Calculate and share the numbers so you get involved with the game. Quickly calculate. Very high, as we have seen. Out of the profit, we had declared out of 296 million profit, 100 million we have declared as dividend. 100 million we have declared as dividend. Okay. So anyway, what I was trying to tell you was we have a very high net profit margin, which is given at the very early stage of the KYP. So I want you to think about this net profit margin. I want you to think about this net profit margin. Okay. Can you please think about this margin percentage? When you say 40%, when you say 40% of net profit, when you say 40% of net profit, please think about it a little bit. Take 2 minutes to think about what do you mean by 40% net profit. Please think about. Take 2 minutes to think about. Just think about the 40% net profit. Just think about net profit. Okay. So let me share a story from my business. Let me share, of course, related to this. Huh? Of course, related to this. So when you hear this story, you will be able to think better. Now, I work as the executive director for Dankutu Porcelain. All right. So Dankutu Porcelain, we sell porcelain tableware all over the world. We sell porcelain tableware in about 50 countries. We sell porcelain tableware in about 50 countries. Right. Now, now I have I have very different business channels available. I sell my products to five-star hotels in Sri Lanka and in 50 different countries. So whenever I sell a product to a five-star hotel, I do the costing, add our profit margin, give the price to them, give the price to them. So they will buy the products. And I have another channel called dealer channel where I sell my products in different countries to various different dealers. So who are these dealers? Dealers are the gift shops. Dealers are the gift shops. So the gift shops will come and buy my product from me. Gift shops will come and buy my product from me. I sell my product to the gift shops. Third channel, I have many channels. I'm going to talk about only first three. Third channel is my showrooms. Showrooms that are owned and managed by me. Showrooms that are owned and managed by me. So now think about, I sell my products to premium hotels. I sell my products on the dealer channel where there are, maybe if you look at in different countries, there are 100, 200, 300 dealers. Dealers are the gift shops. I go and give the products to the dealers. The last one is I have my own showrooms that we manage, right? Each channel, GP and net profit behavior is very, very different. Each channel, GP and net profit behavior is very, very different. Can you compare the dealer channel and the showroom channel? When you compare the dealer channel and the showroom channel, when you compare the dealer channel and the showroom channel, my gross profit and net profit behavior is very, very different. In the dealer channel, my net profit is low compared to the showroom channel. See whether you understand that first. My gross profit in the dealer channel is low. My gross profit in the showroom channel is high. But my net profit is very similar between the dealer channel and the showroom channel. Why? My net profit is very similar between the dealer channel and the showroom channel. But I have a higher gross profit in the showroom channel than the dealer channel. But when it comes to net profit, both looks very, very similar. Why that could be? What do you think is the reason? What do you think is the reason? The reason is in my showrooms there is a there is a very high there is a very high cost of running the showroom, which is a fixed cost, which is a fixed cost. in my showroom channel, there is a fixed cost involved to run the showrooms. Showroom rent is fixed cost, irrespective of the sales that I do. Showroom electricity is a fixed cost, irrespective of the sales that I do. Showroom salaries are mostly fixed, irrespective of the sales I do. Showroom channel has a lot of fixed cost that is not related to the sales that I do. In dealer, there are no very high fixed costs. In dealer, most of the costs are variable. Commission paid to dealer is a variable cost. Transport for the dealer business is also depend on the sales that you do. So the difference is showrooms carry a higher fixed cost of running it. Dealer doesn't carry a high fixed cost of running, right? Therefore, in the showroom channel, when the showroom is full for the full day, when we have large number of customers, profitability will go up drastically because your sales will go up drastically when you have so many customers, but your cost after GP will remain the same. Your cost after GP will remain the same because your cost after GP is fixed for the showrooms. However, in the same showroom business, if the sales come down, then the cost after gross profit will still remain the same. Therefore, I will have a very low margin for the showroom channel. Therefore, I'll have very low margin for the showroom channel. However, dealer business is very different because after GP, cost are variable. When the sales go up, cost after GP will go up. When the sales come down, cost after GP will come down. There's a big difference that you should be aware when you try to manage the profit of an organization. Okay. Are you clear about my showroom and the dealer difference? If you're not clear, please ask questions. If you're not clear, please ask questions. Are you clear? Are you clear? Are you clear? Okay. Now coming back to my 40%, what do you think about this 40%? It's a very high net profit margin. It's a very high net profit margin. But what do you think about what do you think about this? It's a very high net profit margin. But what do you think about this? What do you think about this? How will you relate it to my business? How will you relate this to my business? How will you relate it to the example that I gave you from my business? How will you relate it to the example that I gave you from my business? So someone is asking, what is the formula of gearing ratio? Arif, we are not talking about gearing ratio now, Arif. No, so you are not concentrating. Right? You're not talking about gearing now. We're talking about something very important for you, which you should understand. Gearing we can sort out later. Okay. So how this 40%, which is very high, how you will relate it to my business example that I gave you? How will you relate it to my business example that I gave you? How will you relate it to my business? Everyone, please respond. Everyone, please respond. Okay, let me explain. After the explanation, tell me whether you are clear. This apartment that we rent, where we have the capacity to rent them for 78,000 people, in this business, cost is very, very fixed cost. What are the costs that you have? Cleaning. You might need to clean the rooms available whether we have 90% capacity or 80% capacity. Your electricity will be very, very common. Your depreciation charge will be a very big cost, which will be fixed because your depreciation will be very high. So you have put up the buildings available. So in this business, Whenever your 78,000 capacity is fully utilized, your margins will go up a lot. But if your 78,000 capacity goes down to maybe 42,000, your margin will be very, very less. This apartment for the students, purpose built apartment for the students, is a business. Lot of costs are very, very fixed in nature. Therefore, student capacity utilization is absolutely a critical KPI. Is absolutely a critical KPI that we needed to monitor everyday basis. If you reach 98, 99, 100, you will make a lot of money. If you come to 50%, you will lose a lot of money because most of your cost will be fixed, right? Which is very similar to the showroom business. If I get more and more customers into the showroom, my net profit margin will go up. And if I get less and less customers to my showroom, my net profit margin will come down. Are you clear? Are you clear? Are you clear? I hope you are clear. I hope you are clear. So, this is the business that we are in. Now, how these universities work is also very, very interesting. How these universities work also very, very interesting. So I'll give a brief about how the universities work. Read this slide. Read this slide. Read this slide, then I'll explain. Read the entire slide. Take 1 minute. Take 2 minutes. Read the entire slide, then I'll give a brief introduction to how the industry works. Read the entire slide. Okay. Read this slide carefully. Read this slide carefully. So after you read the slide, we would like to answer two questions. How big we are, number one. Number two, how the how the university industry works. How the university industry works, not the renting business. but the how the university industry works. I'll talk about it after this, after you read the slide. Have you read the slide? Sorry. Have you read the slide or you need more time? If anyone needs more time, please tell me. If anyone needs more time, please tell me. No one needs more time, right? No one needs more time. Anyone needs more time? Please tell me. No, right? Everyone read it. So then after you read it, we need to just answer these two questions. How big we are and how the university industry works. So second one, I will explain. Second one, I will explain. First one, can you give me some comments? First one, can you give me some comments on the first one? Second one, I'll explain. Second one, I will explain. First one, can you give me some comments? First one, can you give me some comments? Second one, I will explain. Second one, I will explain. First one, can you give me some comments? First one, you give me the comment. Second one, I'll explain. Okay. So your comments, what I was expecting is this. What I was expecting is this. Take one more minute. Take one more minute. How big we are? How do you answer? How big we are? Okay. 30 more seconds. Okay. So can I start giving comments? Okay. My comment number one is V seems to be very, very small. My comment number one is V seems to be very, very small. I mean, we are very, very small. How small we are? We are 78,000 students compared to 27 million that is available. Assuming we cater for the overseas students as well. 27 million. So we are very, very small. We are very, very small. First comment is that we are very, very small. Actually, this comment was given by Aleyu Bangura. Very, very nice. Very good to see your comment. Very good to see your comment. But the fact remains, we are very, very small. Even though we are the founder in the industry and all that, we are very, very small. Right? We are very, very small. Because you can see from the data that is available. Now, these are skills that you need to develop. Whenever you see a number, you should be able to look at it, calculate, relate it to your business. Okay. Let me take 5 minutes to explain how the industry works. In most countries, like in UK, like in Australia, the government will fund the universities. But the universities will need to run as private entities. Universities will need to run as the private entities. Government will not run the universities. Unlike in most Asian countries, where the government will run the university. Unlike in most Asian countries, where the government will run the university. Unlike in most Asian countries, where the government will run the university. In most of these developed countries like UK and Australia, government will not run the university. Government will ask the private sector to run the university. Government will tell them, don't worry, we'll pay you. Each and every student that you take will pay you X number of money. So universities will try to do a very good service, very efficient education service, very good customer support for the students to get more and more and more students, and the universities will get a fixed amount from the government for each and every students that we take. So the universities need to run efficiently as possible, and universities will get the money if they run very efficiently. If the more students wants to come to our university, we'll get more money from the government. However, the government has given us a additional advantage. The government has given us an additional advantage. We can take overseas students and we can charge a higher price from the overseas students. Obviously, the government will not pay you money. Government will pay you only if you give the services for the residents of the country. So you are in UK, you don't have the resident visa in UK, you go to university, you will have to pay. The university will charge you the full price. So university should try to get the overseas students as much as possible, and the government will not pay anything to you, but you can charge a higher fee from those people. So for you to get the overseas student, you should have a recognition as a very good university in your country. So go to Australia, go to Monash University. Monash University is owned privately. But whenever Monash University get the students from the Australian citizens, the government of Australia will pay the Monash University. Monash University, since the quality of the service is very high, education levels are very high, sports facilities are first class, they attract lot more international students from whom they charge a higher fee. So since they want to get the international students, they maintain very high standards, best swimming pools, best gyms available, best stadiums available, which will benefit the Australian students as well. That's the very nice model that they run. Okay, are you clear about how the model is run? Are you clear about how the model is run? So you need to get the first-hand feeling about how this business works. You should know how the university is run, because universities is your customer. Universities is partly your customer. Some universities will come to my apartment and say, give me these 2 floors. I will rent it out. I'll put the students. Okay. Are you clear of what I explained? Tell me yes or no quickly. Sorry, which part is not clear? So let me explain again. How the universities will run in these developed countries is universities are privately owned. Government will not run the university. University is privately owned, they run their university. But how the government will pay them money? Each citizen of the country come to the university to study, government will pay a fixed fee to the university. So what happens is universities will try to take more and more students. Whenever they take more and more students, they'll get money from the government. So these are good model because the government is not running the university. It run privately. So they will try to run it very efficiently private companies because then only more students will come. When more students come, only they will get more money from the government. But government has given them an additional incentive. Each and every university, government will tell you, you go and take overseas students and you charge whatever you want. So these private universities therefore try to maintain a very high standard, get the students from the overseas to come there and do their degree program and charge a higher fee. There's an additional incentive, additional money that is available for the universities available. So since they want to get the overseas students, what they do is they maintain very high standard, better quality swimming pool, better quality gyms, better quality stadiums, better quality sports facilities. So the overseas students will come in, and that will benefit the local students as well. That's how the university system will run. You should know how the university system will run because they are partly your customers. Universities will come to your apartment and say, give me 2 floors. They will rent those 2 floors. University will pay the money. University might put the people into those 2 floors. Okay. Are you clear now? If there are any unclear areas, please ask questions. Are you clear now? If there are any unclear areas, please ask questions. Are you clear now? Are you clear now? Quickly. Okay. Everyone fast. So you can go through. Universities can be our customers. Not only the students will come and rent our space, sometimes universities also come and rent our space. It will be good for the university, right? Okay. So you can go through the KYP, which we will do tomorrow. When you go through the KYP, you will see the details about our industry fairly well. Like we started in 1994 by a property developer who commissioned the design of Toland's first purpose built student apartment, right? And we have been growing. Build 5 further properties over next year. Today, we are a listed company since 2002. And today, we own 174 buildings where we can accommodate 78,000 students. And this is our director board. This is our director board. So, likewise, if you go through the KYP, you will get a lot of details. And this is a summary of the KYP. This is the first document that we'll be going through. I hope you are clear. Once you finish this, we go to KYI. KYI stand for KYI stand for Know Your University. KYI stand for Know Your University. Third, third work that we do is called the deep dive. Is called the deep dive. Fourth is called co-activities. Sorry, deep dive. Sorry, I wrote it wrong. Deep dive. Deep dive is the third stage of the work. What is deep dive? Deep dive is we go and challenge what is given in the KYP. First of all, we do the KYP. We learn the pre-C. In the deep dive, we go and challenge the KYP. In-depth analysis after the pre-C. In-depth analysis after the pre-C. Right? In-depth analysis of the pre-C. Then we have an interesting stage called co-activities. What do you mean by co-activities? Examiner has told us there are 5 co-activities from which questions will be based. So we try to go and learn those 5 co-activities. Next stage is something that you like to get involved, which is refresh theory, where we refresh entire E2, P2, F2. Refresh theory. Then we have a section called practice. Then we have a section called practice and reality. What do you mean by practice and reality? Practice is we'll give you a mock paper with the answer just to get a feel about what kind of questions comes. We give a mock paper and answer just to get a feel about what kind of questions come. Reality is mock number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 mocks available on our exam engine, which is very, very similar to See My Exam Engine. And I'm sure our exam engine is the exam engine that is used by the highest number of students so far in the world. So you can use our exam engine to do mock number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you will get a very good experience of doing an exam. And towards last part of it, we have a section called PI, which is the possible issues. And then there is a revision that is available. And then there is a power mock that is available. Power mock will mean what are the E2, P2, F2 questions that will come for the exam. And then there is another F2 mock available, which will tell you what are the F2 related areas that will come for the exam. So those are the different stages that we will go through. Join with us. It'll be fun. It'll be relaxed. We'll go through various different sections available, and we'll start with the KYP and the KYI. And I'm sure we are starting the sessions from tomorrow. So I want you to join the sessions from tomorrow and enjoy. Okay. So those are the areas that I wanted to cover. However, 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 now is good time for you to ask questions. Now is good time for you to ask questions. Please ask questions now. Please ask questions now. Please ask questions. Ask anything. Ask anything that you need to clarify. I'll give you 5 minutes to type questions. Start typing questions now. Please ask questions. Okay. Typing speed. Typing speed is a critical area. Typing speed matters on the exam day. So one thing that you can do is, first of all, we need to measure what your WPM is. That's the first thing that we need to do. We need to measure what your WPM is, words per minute. Therefore, after in the class, we give you 1 week to type about 20 minutes a day for 4 days and calculate what is your WPM, words per minute. From that point onwards, we will try to see how to improve. There are enough free typing tests available. We can download and go through. You can download and go through. So we encourage you to do that if your typing speed is less. If your typing speed is less. All right? If your typing speed is less. Okay. So do we have time? Yes. Uh, yes. In the sense, we will have to do a lot of work. When the last 2 weeks of the exams are closer, we might do some extra classes. But we have been doing it for all the years. Don't worry, we have enough time to do. We don't ask you to do a lot of work because I know you guys are working. Therefore, we will summarize and send you all the sessions, all the lectures that we do are recorded. If you miss a lecture, no problem. You can go and watch it later. We don't send you 30-page documents for you to read. We'll send you a video. We'll explain what is in the document. We understand you guys are busy. But we therefore will try to kind of help you to pass the exam. Any more questions? Any more questions? Any more questions? No questions. Yeah, we might have few during the weekdays, mostly to cover the theory areas. E2, P2, F2, you might have few classes. So independent studies, I recommend 1 to 1.5 hours a day, but 1 day a week, more hours, because 1 day a week you need to do a mock paper at least. So about 1.5 hours of daily work, 1 day a week, maybe Saturday, Sunday, you might allocate about 5, 6 hours. When the exams are close, which is about last 2 weeks, you need to allocate a little bit more. Okay, so thank you very much for joining with us today. My name is Channa Gunawardana. I am from Nanaska. Uh, okay, so you need to cover the competencies. Competencies are very easy. It is not an exam, it's a self assessment. Those who are coming from the FLP program, don't treat competencies as exams. Don't even treat competencies as a way to learn, because I'll be covering entire E2, P2, F2. Your job is just to complete it. I will teach entire E2, P2, F2 in the MCS course. You just need to complete it and just do the trick and pass it. It's not an exam. I will teach it entirely. So my name is Shanna Gunawardana. Nanaska is a small institute. We are specialized in the case studies. We are specialized in the case studies. We'll do a course that you will enjoy, have a little fun, and ensure all of you will pass. Right? We believe not only passing you, we have something called Nanaska Connects for you to find jobs. We have a program called Your Life is Your Life that is also done for you to kind of educate us of how to live a happy life. So all those will come in as you go on. See you tomorrow. All the very best. Good night. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.